So the first one that we need to discuss as part of the today's session is about overloading and overriding. Okay, so what exactly this overloading is and what exactly this overriding is. For now, let us study with respect to the method. So method overloading and method overriding. Okay, so what exactly this method overloading does in Java? Okay, that's fine. So let us see this overloading concept first of all. So the ultimate objective of this particular one is multiple methods having same name but different arguments or parameters in the same class. Okay, within a single class, within a single class, if one or more methods having the same name, and if at all there is a change in the set of arguments that we are passing, we treat it as a method overloading. So the ultimate objective of this method overloading is that occurs on a same class. Method overloading occurs in a same class itself, guys. It will not occur in a multiple classes. Okay, that's fine. And the next point here is immediately a quick question will rise in our mind. Buddy, why we need to create a method? Okay, so why we need to create a method with the same name and a different arguments? See, my requirement is assume that I want to perform an addition operation. Okay, an addition operation for 2 numbers, 3 numbers, and 4 numbers. Instead of creating a multiple names, what I can say is sum int a comma int b, and the same way sum int a int b int c, the same way sum int a int b int c and int d. So here if you clearly observe, we are passing 4 different parameters to here. So the name is a uniform, so that whenever people wants to call a sum based on their need, they can just pass on their parameters. Okay, that's fine. So what exactly the method overloading advantages are? So it increases the readability of that particular program. See here, there is no duplicates basically. This sum is uniform at all completely. And in this particular sum, I'm just performing this operation. So another way I can consider that in my automation testing, I have created a browser launch method. Okay, for this browser launch method, if I pass a browser name, comma, app URL, this will launch a browser on the laptop. For suppose, for the same method browser launch, if I specify mobile device name, mobile OS version, and a few more capabilities, it will launch browser on the mobile phone. So it means based on the values that we are passing, okay, based on the values that you are passing, we can customize that particular method. But always the method name would be one and the same, which is a browser launch. Based on the parameters that you are passing, it will either launch a browser on a laptop or it will launch a browser on a mobile device. That's it. So the ultimate objective of this method overloading is you guys can have a same method name with a different sets of arguments. Okay, and this method overloading can be handled in 2 ways basically, by changing number of parameters. Okay, you may change by using a number of parameters or even by changing their data types. whatever their data types is there. If at all you are changing their data types also, you can perform this particular operation. So it means you have a two methods, sum and sum. Maybe the first method is accepting integer, the second method might accept a boolean. So if at all same method name with a different number of arguments or a different data types, we call this particular concept as a method overloading. Okay, we call this concept as a method overloading. So let me create a simple program so that we can understand how exactly this method overloading does. So demo 6, let me create. And here I'm creating a method public void sum int a. So I'm explaining about the first option, which is changing the number of parameters. System.out.println. Okay, system.out.println, one parameter. Okay, the same method I'm just placing it again int a comma int b. System.out.println, two parameters. See, in this situation, method name is one and the same. The only difference that we are observing out over there is initially we are passing only one argument, and now we are passing two different arguments to this particular method. Okay, initially we are just passing one argument, and now we are passing two different arguments to this particular method. That's it. Assume that you might have a main method here, and demo 6 space obj is equal to new demo 6. I'm creating an object obj dot. I can add the sum method. I can pass a 2, and obj dot sum 5 comma 5. That's it. This is the way how exactly we need to treat it. Okay, so this is the way how exactly we need to treat this, guys. Perfect. Done the deal. Let me try to run my test script as a Java application so that we can understand this concept, how exactly it's been executing this method overloading. Okay, let me try to run this script. Okay. Java application. One parameter and a two parameter methods got retrieved down to the console. Fine. So here I'm creating a one more class, demo 7. Let me add a main method so that I can add my methods in parallel to this main method. So here public void sum int a comma int b system.out.println a plus b. Public void sum double a comma double b. So here system.out.println a plus b. See here, guys, both the methods are sum itself, whereas here if you observe in the first situation we are passing data type as an integer, and the second situation we are passing data type as a double. As both the data types got changed, still we call it as a overloading itself. Okay, still we call it as an overloading itself. Perfect. Done the deal. Okay. Okay, perfect. Done the deal. And then the next point that we need to consider here is okay. So if you want, if at all you wanna just you need to create an object, demo object space obj name is equal to new demo 7. Obj dot, see here, I can call this a sum 3 comma 3, and obj dot sum 3.4 comma 4.5, something. I'm just passing these double values. depending on a way how we are calling it, this one will be executed and the sum will be returned to the console. This whole concept, we call it as a method overloading. Immediately, a quick question that rises in our mind. Surendra, you are saying that main is also a method, right? Can we overload a main method? Okay, let us see a simple example so that we can understand whether we can overload this main method or not. So here, let me try to create a new Java program, demo 8 with a main method. This is the method they have created. Okay, if you observe, guys, we are creating with a main method. System.out.println Java main method by default. Okay, this is the method that comes by default. Na? So I'm creating my own main method. Public static void main. Okay, public static void main system.out.println main without arguments. So here usually for a main method we need to pass an arguments, right? So I'm not passing that particular arguments, or even the main here I'm passing a string arguments here, but usually Java main method will accept a string of arguments itself. So the ultimate point is, whenever you are overloading the main method in Java, JVM will recognize this argument. For the main method, whether you are having a string of arrays plus arguments, whether this thing is there or not, if it is there, then only it will be recognizing it. So it means, though we have these many main methods, so when I run my Java program, okay, Java main method by default will be executed. The reason is basically, okay, so the reason is basically JVM will consider this as a main method for execution. Okay, JVM consider this as a main method for our execution. Perfect, done the deal. So this is all about a method overloading concept, an introduction to a method overloading in Java. Then what exactly the overriding in Java? We have seen an overloading now. So let us see the same thing with respect to an overriding. See guys, for this overriding, we can consider a couple of examples as part of our real world. So the first example that I can consider is, assume that I saved a contact with a name as a Ramya on my mobile. Okay, today I saved a contact Ramya. And after 1 month, if at all I'm saving another new contact with that name, then it will prompt a message that Ramya is already exist. Would you like to overwrite that information? Okay, would you like to overwrite that particular information? That's what we are just specifying. Would you like to overwrite that particular information? This is what we are going to specify. So it means a contact is already there, and would you like to overwrite an existing contact? This is what we are going to define here. Okay, this is what we are going to define here with respect to these things. Okay, so overriding means there is already some information and you are going to override that particular information again. Okay, in a real world, I understood this concept. How this overriding is going to work as part of our, how this overriding is going to work as part of our, okay, as part of our Java world, right? We should know how exactly we can implement this overriding concept. See, for that, let me give you a simple example so that you can understand this overriding concept. Assume that we have a grandfather. He constructed a house. Okay, this guy constructed a big mansion. Okay, and now our generation father generation is done and our generation, we are in this generation now. So whenever we are in this particular generation, we thought that, the walls and, the interior is bit odd. So what you have done, assume that you have done a painting for that house. What it will happen, this painting, this will override the existing painting, right? Whatever the existing painting is there, this is going to override that existing painting. Okay, this is going to override that particular existing painting. So when you are performing this overriding operation, if some information is there from your forefathers, and if you don't like it, if you want to modify it, then this overriding comes into the picture, right guys? Then this overriding comes into the picture. So the similar way here, where this method overriding in Java occurs, it occurs in between parent and a child relationship. So it means whenever the classes are in an inheritance relation, then we will encounter this method overriding concept. That too, in the child class, we will encounter this. Okay, in the child class, we will encounter this particular method overriding concept. So it means parent class is having one method, and if child class is also writing logic for the same method, we call it as an overridden method. Okay, then we call it as an overridden method, guys. Parent is having some logic and the child is also having the same logic, then we call it as a overridden. And immediately a quick question will rise in our mind. Which method will be called by Java? Whether a parent method or a child method. Okay, which method is called by Java program, a parent method or a child method? So here, what I'm doing right now means new demo class, demo 9. Okay, consider this as a parent, demo 9. And in this demo 9, I have a public void login. Assume that I have a login method. Okay, login. And then let me create a new child class, demo 10 with a main method. And this demo 10 is extending demo 9. Okay, this demo 10 is extending a demo 9. But still, I'm creating an object to demo 10 space obj is equal to new demo 10. Okay, for this login logic, I'm writing it as a parent login. The logic I'm defining it as a parent class login method. So here I have defined this information. obj.login. See, this login is there only in a parent class itself. See here, scripts to demo9.login. This login is being called from the parent class itself. So when I run my Java application, though these two classes are in a relation, whatever the parent class logic is there, as we don't have that particular logic in a child class, only the parent class logic will be called. Only the parent class logic will be called. Got it, guys? Only the parent class logic will be called. For suppose the same method is there in a child class. So demo 10 is a child class. Nah? So the same method is there in a child class. Whenever you created an object and you are calling that particular method, this time JVM will give us an importance to the child class method itself. As you are in that particular class, it will give importance to that particular class itself. Okay, as you are giving an importance, so this class will be called. So here in this situation, what happened, guys? Whatever the parent class logic is there, it was overridden by our child class logic. This concept, we call it as an overriding. So when you will encounter this overriding, whenever the classes are in a parent-child relationship, in such situations, you will encounter this particular overriding. Okay, so when this overriding is used, basically, if parent class is having some logic, but in the child class, we want to perform only a specific action. In such situations, we are going to use this particular overriding concept. Okay, and this overriding, it comes under a polymorphism, so which I will explain you as part of the next session. Okay, so here there are certain rules which we need to follow in order to implement this overriding concept. The first rule is both the classes should be in a relation. So it means extents should be there between the two classes. And moreover, whatever the name we have given in the parent class, same name should be given in the child class too. This is the second rule. And the third rule here is, okay, this is what the second rule is. And the third rule out over there is, okay, arguments should match between the methods defined in both the parent and as well as the child. They should be in a relation, name should be same, and the parameters should be same. Then only this overriding concept will be handled. Okay, then only this overriding concept will be handled. Good, guys? Or any questions for this particular concept? Okay, is this point clear for you, or any kind of a questions we can use it?
Clear.
Perfect. Okay, perfect. Done the deal. And usually in an interview, whenever you are attending the interviews, people will be asking you about what is the basic difference between an overloading and overriding. All these things people will be asking you. So depending on, okay, so the things you can address these questions, but the ultimate point here is basically, okay, the ultimate point here is overloading occurs in the same class and overriding occurs in a multiple classes when both the classes are in a relationship. Okay, whenever the classes are in a relationship, this overriding is occurs. Okay, good. Done the deal. Any questions on this one so far? Perfect. Done the deal, guys. Considering your silence as good enough. So this is what the ultimate point that we are covering as part of overriding and as well as